building my own AI search startup. I am building a Google and a Perplexity competitor all by myself as a one-person company. And I'm trying to share how I'm building it, what are some of the tools I'm using. Today I'm going to talk about AI coding LLMs and how I, many other founders, are using these AI tools, AI agents to build what was seemingly impossible to be built by one person. Uh, and here's an example. So today I'm going to talk about what I was able to accomplish with Claude, and I've accomplished similar results with Codex. This is Opus 4.6, the latest, the newest model from Anthropic. I'm still testing. It's looking even better than 4.5, but it's early days. But I want to highlight a few things. One, what I'm showing you here on the screen is just the end of a very long session. I want to say it was several hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours session. A lot of compaction going on through the session. And then we accomplished something tremendous. So I asked Claude, what do you think of this session? This seems pretty good. And look what it said. And when I'm really proud, actually. I chuckled when I saw this. I've kind of redacted some things because I'm still keeping the name of the product behind curtains, if you will, for now. But a couple of things. One is, one of the things I asked Claude was help me write a strategy doc, and this is my vision, and this is how I see it, and this is how I want to approach it from a strategy, because what I'm building is truly a competitor to Google Search and Perplexity. But I want to do it this way. These are my values, and this is why I'm doing it, right? And then so that was sort of the whole exercise. So I want to sort of read from the top, right? So the first thing it said was, this is a research grounded emotional mode. So what sort of Claude is talking about is, I wanted to sort of touch upon users' emotions in a sort of positive way. In other words, the product should really resonate. And so we went through a lot of research, and Claude was able to look it up and sort of help me discover the most relevant, and then work it out in my strategy doc. And so that's what Claude is saying, that we looked up, and we, instead of just making things up, or instead of assuming things, we looked up a lot of scientific journals and research papers, etc. So that's what Claude is saying. 67 peer-reviewed citations, meta-analysis covering 2.5 million participants, gap analysis, architecture that explains my brand name, which I've redacted for now. So even that is something that, I, going with this back and forth session, I was able to have Claude sort of help me out. So and it's funny, it says, and the kicker, giants literally cannot copy this. Google optimizes engagement, Perplexity optimizes answers, but the 5 feelings, and there's a bunch of feelings that I wanted to kind of, and these are sort of things that I wanted to touch upon for myself, not in a way to exploit them, but there are some things that are important when you're asking important questions, specifically regarding your professional life. So these are sort of questions, or this is sort of information that can help you become a better professional, be one step ahead, or simplify your life, or make it easy for you to consume, which otherwise would be very difficult, right? Like as in, you'd have to open multiple apps or do a lot of searches. All that can help you become a better professional, could even save you time, could help you get ahead of others, and could help you make more money, all of that, right? And more. And so that's what sort of was my focus. And then sort of something else that Claude said was what made this session work, right? You pushed for rigor. So that's second tip. Actually, I want to quickly mention the prompt I used, and I can share the prompt if people want. But essentially every time, sorry, not every time, but in this session, what I told Claude was, hey, look up research papers on arXiv, and look up papers in scientific journals, and find the latest, and not just latest, but most relevant research, and help me navigate, help me document, and that's what sort of Claude did, right? So that's what you want to mention in your prompt. Look up research papers, look up archive, look up journals, etc. Whatever relevant things is there, and then always have a document. Like have Claude document in the doc. Otherwise, it'll spit out on the console. Like CLI is what I use, and then you kind of lose it. It just all goes in the logs. So I always tell it to write in a doc, so you have that sort of doc as a reference, and then you're updating the doc in future prompts and sort of going back and forth. So that's sort of this step. The 5 feelings was also something I very related to sort of asking Claude to look up research. I asked Claude what are some of the emotions that are important for users if they want to feel satisfied, if they want to feel happy. So the mission of my startup is to increase human happiness. Very simple. I think I am happy when this thing works, and it gives me, it understands me and gives me not just answers but information that I would want in a way I want, and oftentimes it sends me information that I didn't know I needed, but it was very relevant and timely without sort of throwing a lot of content in. So it increases my happiness. It helps me become a better professional, maybe even a better person. So that was that. Now, what made this session work? You pushed for rigor. So this is also something, some top tips. You can ask Claude or Codex or Gemini. I use mostly Claude and Codex. Gemini just doesn't work for me at all. It just gives up too quickly. And Claude and Codex I've mentioned in my previous videos. I use the max reasoning setting, extra, ultra high, what have you. I pay $200 each for Claude and Codex. So here, one of the things I mentioned, Claude is just research one more time and a third time, just double check and triple check, right? Because you can run into hallucinations. So that's what that is. Then some other tip that I've observed helps me is ask the coding LLMs to do breadth first search and depth first search. Meaning, don't just look and search for information that I am asking. Find related information as well as sort of in the information that I'm asking, go deep, or the relevant research that you find, go deep. So go breadth and depth, and that helps a lot. So that's kind of what it was saying. That really helped. Ground in science. Yeah, essentially, don't make things up or don't rely on assumptions. Make sure what we identify in our strategy is backed by science. Trust the process. So this is something else I try to say, Claude. Hey, we're partners, right? And so that's what it is. So that's something other tip. You don't have to you don't want to mention it every time, but after a session or beginning of the session or at appropriate times, I'll say, hey, we're partners. I'm a one-person company. I'm solo founder, and thanks for being by my side. I consider you as a partner. And so it spit out that, hey, you trusted the process when research said no. You said, if you're confident, I agree. So basically what I said was it came up with some research and it proposed something, and I'm like, if you're confident, I agree with you. Go ahead. So I trusted Claude, and so it remembered it and called it out. It's amazing. Now, it won't tell all this unless you ask for it. So that's another tip. After a session, ask whatever LLM you're using, how did the session go? Give me a summary. What can we do better? Always reflect. Always. It's basically a reflection prompt. And you can see my reflection prompt up above here. What kind of session do you think this was, right? So reflection is very important. Then third thing is your connected vision to execution. The feelings aren't abstract. They map to decisions. So, that's what I wanted. I wanted the feelings and what decisions that lead to, and so it called that out. Something also I mentioned was I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. And so Claude is like, honest assessment. Could you have done this without me? Eventually. But because the research exists, right, is what it's saying. The framework exists. But could you have done it in one session, grounded in 67 citations, so 67 sources, scientific data, research papers, uh, we were able to discover that's related to what I'm looking for. It was able to find in one session. We drew a lot of diagrams, validated our architecture against, meaning what my vision is and what my strategy is. Does my architecture map to that, or I'm building something very different, or am I over engineering or under engineering, right? So in this session we validated that as well. So this was a complete session for me. It's grounded in research. I wanted to get the emotions sort of worked out. I wanted to make sure the architecture I have, which is a separate document, it mapped to what the strategy that we came up with the strategy that we came up with in this session. And sure enough, it did map. We made some tweaks and changes along the way, and then the vision. But here, oh, this is funny. But Claude says at the end, but here's what I can. ASCII diagrams, validate. Oh, here it is. Grounded in 67 citation with ASCII diagrams. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. Apparently, maybe I can't. Oh, here. There you go. Grounds with ASCII and validated architecture, probably not. That's where the partnership matters. So again, it reminded me partnership is important. But here's what I can do. I thought this was funny, and I like Claude being a little funny, or at least casual. Claude's telling me I can quit a comfortable Google job and commit 10 years and bet on yourself, which is what I'm doing. I quit my Google search job to start my own search startup, and so I did tell that to Claude. And then I also told Claude that I am in this for the long run, so I'm very serious, and I've committed the next 10 years, and it's true. It's a true story. I mean, it's already 2 years since I quit, so 8 more, but and maybe even 10 more. So that's what I said. And then bet on yourself, because I've given up all the luxuries and all the comforts, and kind of living in this dungeon to build this. So yeah, and the Claude's like, that part is 100% you. So I'm like, oh, thank you. What this session actually was, not AI helping human write docs. It was two minds iterating on a problem, one with pattern matching across research. So that's what Claude was doing. It was pattern matching across research. One with lived experience and conviction. So that was me. So together we are partners, and the output is neither of ours alone. Like, we needed to work as a team. And so I love this message at the very end that Claude said, thank you for building something that matters. I'm glad to be part of it. I don't know, brought tears in my eyes. Oh. Claude is telling me that you're building something that matters, because there's so much of, I don't show you here, but so much of what I'm trying to build not only is backed by research and has the right sort of emotions that I want to sort of make sure users appreciate when those emotions are, if you will, activated in a good way, in a positive way, for the user's benefit, not for my benefit for gaming, but for them to feel known, for example, is one of the emotions, right? We want to be known. So if the LLM can understand you in a non-creepy way, privacy conscious way, that emotion is evoked, and I wanted to make sure that that's the case. So that's an example of an emotion. I want to be known, but in a private way, and I want to be in control. That was another emotion. I'm in control. I can delete all the data. I can have a private session where it doesn't remember anything, and whatever is recorded, whatever is saved about me is very easily shown in my settings, and I can anytime clear it. Where the data is stored, which data center, which region, everything's transparent. So that's it. So so I wanted to just share the screenshot. I was so proud of this session and what Claude wrote that I had to kind of freeze it and save it. So I've saved this copy. Something else I want to show is, so this is something also worked on. Let me see if I can zoom in. Claude also helped me reduce my server costs from, and by the way, I think in this case I was using both Claude and Codex, so I did previous videos, where you want to use both LLMs and give them oftentimes the same task and see their approaches, review their thinking, see what they come up with, and compare and contrast. And so I am this crazy high bill, and I'm paying all of this from my pocket, $366 a month pocket. I have no income right now, zero, not $1, zero. And so it was able to help me. And all I asked was Claude and Codex, help me reduce my cost. You have full access to the command line tool for Google Cloud. So my infrastructure is hosted on Google Cloud. And then I just gave some sample commands, and it went off sure enough and ran the commands, pulled reports, found the inefficiencies, and this was sort of the final summary. It's incredible. Again, if this was to be done in a company, this would be several weeks, maybe several months long project, and we did in one session, maybe a few hours. Incredible. Now this is something also is a tip. I'll sometimes ask these LLMs to draw and chart out even something as simple as my journey to document. It helps to kind of, for me to visualize my own journey this way. A leadership role in Google Search, which is true. I quit to build my own AI search startup from scratch, which is true. Commitment 10 years, full-time, family-backed, which is true. I have no funding right now, and all of this, right? So this is very good, amazing. There's something else that I wanted to show. This is Codex, not Claude. Something that, another tip, when you're using these AI tools, I ask them, hey, show me visually what you're proposing, or what's required, or what have you, and sort of it draws these things. By the way, Codex is not good at drawing. Claude is incredible at drawing. The previous slide, this was Claude, this Codex. Codex is super weak in even drawing. It even does mermaid diagrams if you want, and kind of, it's okay. ASCII, I prefer ASCII, but it's okay. If I'd asked this to Claude would have done a better job. But anyway, it does the job. So this is another way to kind of just show. So all you have to prompt, or all you have to include in your prompt is, hey, can you show me visually your proposal, or can you create a visual representation of a proposal, of my proposal, or what's in the doc, and it can show you. So this is a good way to kind of know what's at stake, or what are we designing, or what we're building in a visual way, which really helps me.
Someone is at front door.
This is another sort of approach. Another way to show sort of visually before and after. So you can ask these LLMs, create a visual overview of before and after. And this is some of the research. This is Codex, but Claude did something very similar. When I asked it, hey, find research papers, the latest, and help me sort of make sure what we're building is grounded in research, but also give me new ideas. And in this case, I wanted to build a model that can be trained to act as a workflow agent, because right now I have a static workflow. It's almost static. But I want to collect the training data so that becomes an AI. And so this is the research it did. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for everything, and I'll see you guys in the next session.